Just got back from Metro. I walked there actually to get some more steps in. So this is pretty much everything I get from the grocery store, maybe like once, twice a week, every 4 to 5 days. And all my other meat protein comes from Protein Chefs. So we have no sugar added ketchup, the calorie-wise creamy cucumber, it's like lower carbs, lower fats, jasmine rice, sweet potatoes, which I just added these into my first meal instead of the rice, spinach, romaine, cucumbers, carrots. This is all for my salads that I have with like 4 of my meals, and then eggs. Pretty simple. It's 9:30 now. It's Tuesday. Typically when I wake up, I'll wake up, have my coffee, have some water, and then I'll sit down and crank out some emails and respond to some clients, do some programming stuff for a few hours, because I feel really productive in the morning when I wake up. I'm pretty sharp after I have my coffee and like listen to a little bit of a podcast or something like that. And then I just crank out some work for a couple hours, and then I'm gonna go for a walk right now to get my steps in. I'm gonna increase my steps per day to 14,000 from 12,000. So I'm gonna create more of a deficit because I don't wanna lower the food much more right now. I wanna create more of a deficit with the energy expenditure. So I'm increasing by 2,000 steps a day, which is a good little boost, a good little percentage jump there. So that should help. To get those steps in, I basically walk pretty much everywhere that I can. I'll go for a quick walk in the morning, and then walk to Dylan's and back when I train during the day. When I train, I'm pretty active walking around the condo. Get a lot of steps in like that. And then I'll typically like walk my girlfriend home at night and then walk back. And then that's typically enough steps for the day. With this increase of 2,000 steps, I might have to do a bit more. That's why I'm making sure I do wake up in the morning and go for a walk before my first meal after I do this work, just to chip away at the steps for the day. So that's how I get my cardio in, and we're gonna go for that walk now, come back, have a meal, and then head over to Dylan's to train legs. So I've also decided to make a little bit of change to the diet this week. Like I mentioned in the previous videos, I added in potatoes to the first meal. So I'm gonna drop my carbs back from 60 carbs per meal to 50 carbs per meal. So I'm getting around 200 to 210 grams of carbs per day now. That's dropped down quite a bit from where we started. So I'm doing about 250 grams of potato in the first meal, which is 50 carbs. And then the 3 other carb meals that I have in the day, I'm doing 175 grams of cooked rice, which is about 50 grams of carbs as well. So 4 carb meals out of the 6, and those meals have 50 grams of carbs each in them. I just want to explain to you guys why it is that I'm doing this challenge and why I don't want to pull my food down too much as well right now. So the whole purpose of me doing this challenge is just to bring myself closer. For a little bit of like backstory, I've been working pretty much this whole year on bringing my body composition back to a very good place without a lot of restrictions. So I'm doing it slower, I'm taking my time. I went from about like 285 down to 265, held 265 for a few months, and then now since we started the 8-week challenge, I'm gonna drop it down again, probably get somewhere close to like 250, 255. It's not so much about the weight, it's more about how I look and where my body fat level is. So I wanna be able to get to a place where I'm really good body fat levels, maybe somewhere like 6 to 8 weeks out of being able to do a competition or a photo shoot and being completely ripped. So for me to get to that spot, to be honest, it's very easy. I know how to lose body fat very easy. I can get shredded, I can get ripped for shows. But the thing is, when you do it very aggressively and you lose a lot of body fat very quick, you're always gonna have a rebound. You're always gonna go back up, right? So I've always been doing that year over year. I'll do a show and then I'll be like, okay, time to get huge. And then I'll put on like, 30 pounds of 40 pounds of body fat over stage weight. And then I'll do another show and I'll go back down, and it's always up and down, up and down. So I want to get to a spot now where I can comfortably and sustainably be in a very good position in terms of body fat in my body composition. So that's the purpose of me doing this challenge. It's not necessarily to get as shredded as possible, because if I wanted to do that, I can do that, guys. That's not an issue for me. I know how to get shredded, I know how to get peeled, but really for me, it's more about doing this in a sustainable long-term way. So that also means that I don't want to restrict myself too heavily with the food. So if this was all about fat loss, I'd be pulling down the food much harder, much more aggressively to get that fat loss. But like I said, it's more about just like general body composition and setting myself up to be in a very good spot and to be able to sustain that for a long period of time. You won't believe it. My weight went up. Oh my God. My weight went up one day. So after the refeed, the last refeed I did, my weight was dropping maybe like 2 pounds a day for a couple days, and I was down around like 255, whatever. Didn't check for a day, and then I checked this morning and I was 259. So my weight was up a couple pounds. So I know all of you are thinking, because I work with all of you clients, and if that happened to you, you'd be like, oh my God, my weight went up. What's going on? Guys, don't worry about it. I'm not freaking out. I'm not changing anything. I'm trusting the process. I was training today. I'm looking at my body. My body looks like it's making progress. I'm steadily going. Just because I put on weight doesn't mean I put on body fat. I could be just like retaining a little bit more water or a little bit more muscle glycogen, or I didn't get as good a sleep last night or anything, right? So the moral of what I'm saying is I'm not freaking out. I'm not changing the plan. I'm trusting the process. I'm putting in the work day today, and I know that I'm going to keep progressing forward. So don't worry about the day-to-day fluctuations in the weight. Record the weight for your coach with the corresponding day and send it at your check-in, and don't worry about it, because you know what? I might be down to a new low tomorrow. You never know, right? So let that be a lesson for you guys. All right, it's Thursday morning, rest day, but we're gonna go on a nice bike ride right now. It's about 8:30 in the morning, just going out to meet Dylan, and then we're gonna go do about 15K on the bike and get it in. All right, supplement time. I'm gonna show you guys what you should be taking. So we're just gonna go over some of the general supplements that I take and the supplements that I think you guys should take. There's a lot of things that you can waste money on, and trust me, I've wasted a lot of money over the years on lots of supplements that didn't work. And basically, all these supplements are kind of gonna be general health things. They're not a lot of performance supplements. As long as you're getting your food and your diet, your rest, these supplements will aid in everything and help your body just perform generally better. So first up, let's start with the tried and true creatine. Creatine monohydrate, to be exact. This is Muscle-Tech's version. So you guys don't need to spend money on these crazy forms of creatine, these crazy fast-acting, fast-loading creatine. You also don't need to load creatine. So I think everybody should take 5 grams of creatine a day. Really big guys, maybe 10 grams, but that's okay. So you don't need to load creatine. You don't need to do these loading phases of creatine. Realistically, you should be on creatine year round. So it's not something you need to do a loading phase. Like, what's the difference if it's in your body within a week or 2 weeks if you're gonna use it year round? So not only are you gonna get a lot of performance benefits and physical benefits from creatine, you're also gonna get a lot of cognitive benefits. There's a lot of studies that show that it helps improve cognition generally. So one thing creatine does is helps with the ATP energy cycle. So it helps donate some phosphates from ADP to ATP. Basically, it helps regenerate energy a little bit faster when you're training at a high intensity. Creatine can obviously help you put on some lean mass as well. So next up, we have omega-3 fatty acids. One of the reasons we supplement with omega-3s is because they're not very readily found in the diet. Our diets, the North American diet is generally consisting of omega-6s and 9s, so you want to make sure you have a good ratio of omega-3, 6s, and 9s, so that's why we supplement with them, right? And everybody knows there are so many benefits to taking omega-3s, right? There's so many general health benefits. It can help with anxiety, it can help with depression, it can help with mental disorders, it can help with metabolic syndrome. It's an anti-inflammatory. It can improve risk factors for heart disease. Multivitamin, multimineral supplement. This is the cornerstone of everybody's supplement regime. This is kind of like the first one you put in, right? It's just gonna cover all your bases, all the nutrient and micronutrient deficiencies. Make sure you spend the money on a good product that has enough of the things in there you're looking for. There are a lot of products that just have very like low values of a lot of things, but it says a lot of names on the back of the bottle. So this basically, because when we diet, we're restricting calories, which means a lot of times we're restricting a lot of nutrients and micronutrients, things like that. So this just makes sure we're getting the bare minimum of all the other things we're missing that are not in our diet. Vitamin C, take some extra vitamin C because there might not be enough added in your multivitamin, multimineral supplement. Vitamin C is necessary for the growth, development, and repair of all bodily tissues. Typically, I would recommend people take anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. The reason we take this is because when we're dieting, generally a general bodybuilding diet, you might be lacking vitamin C in some of the foods that we're not getting. We typically don't eat a ton of fruits, and there is a lot of vitamin C in fruits. This is a big one, guys. Vitamin D, and this is D and K2. The reason we take vitamin D, maybe you can guess, just with the way the world is now, a lot of us are inside most of the day. The best way to get vitamin C is direct sunlight. So if you're outside in the sun most of the day, you might be good, but there are a lot of studies that show that pretty much everybody is deficient in vitamin D in North America. It's a big thing. A lot of people, when they start taking a sufficient amount of vitamin D, they feel a lot better, and it's going to help with your immune and just a lot of different bodily functions. So I recommend people take anywhere between maybe 4,000 and 10,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. And 10,000, it might seem like a lot, but realistically, the absorption that you get from the oral form of vitamin D is not too great. So even though you're taking 10,000, you're probably not getting that much. If you guys do have a chance to go to a clinic somewhere you can get vitamin drip like IV, that is great. That really gets in there fast and it boosts up your levels very quick compared to the oral version. Here's another big one, guys, curcumin. So you can get this from turmeric as well. Curcumin is a very potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. And why the anti-inflammatory is so important is because a lot of things we put in our body, even just stressing our bodies out with really hard training, really hard cardio, we're causing a lot of inflammation, right? And if we're not doing some things to reduce that inflammation, that's going to cause a lot of issues and chronic stress for us. And everybody that's been dieting or works with anybody at Hammer Fitness knows we preach about stress. Stress really can kill your gains. So that's why I definitely recommend taking curcumin. Generally, 400 milligrams a day would be a good dose for most people. Okay, so this is a supplement called Love Heart. It's got a lot of things in here. Generally, it's a heart, kidneys, general body kind of health supplement. And the things that are in here that I like and the reason I take it is ubiquinol and citrus bergamot. And basically, these two things are gonna help reduce blood pressure. They're going to improve your cholesterol score, so they're going to get you more of the good cholesterol, help lower the bad cholesterol, the bigger cholesterol particles. And I think every bodybuilder should be taking CoQ10 and citrus bergamot to make sure that their blood pressure is in range and they're just taking care of their heart, because the heart is one of the things that we know from being bodybuilders now and having a lot more research out there. That is one of the biggest issues. Your liver can take a beating and regenerate. Your heart is something that's, you have to take very seriously and make sure that your cholesterol and your cardiovascular is always in check. All right, so it's Saturday morning. I was like 2:56 when I woke up. I'm definitely happy with how my body's been changing. I feel like I've been growing and getting leaner at the same time. I want to show you guys something that I haven't really posted any, but you can see these dots on my skin, right? It's like discoloration. You can kind of see it on my shoulder there a little bit. So it's like all on my chest and here and on my back, and it's called tinea versicolor, and it's like a skin thing, like a fungal skin thing that I developed. I started getting it after I was tanning. So a couple months ago, I started to notice it. And I thought it was because I was tanning a lot and I was using this stuff for tanning called melanotan, which is a peptide, which helps your skin tan faster. So I was like, okay, I'll stop using that and see if it goes away. And then it didn't go away. And so I finally went to the doctor and saw what it was. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty common. It's like this thing. So basically I just apply a medication, like a cream on it, my front and back, wherever it is, once a day. And I've been doing that for about a week, and it's actually been like going away and getting a lot better. It was a lot worse than this actually before. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like it's just like there's no negative side effects of it or anything. It's just like a visual, like skin discoloration thing. So, you know, just thought I'd be real with you guys and show you that, like what I'm dealing with. It is kind of weird, you know, somebody who's like a bodybuilder and is like, you know, their body or their physique or their image matters so much to them. Having your skin like discolored and like patchy is kind of weird. But I'm a confident person, whatever, and it's like, you know, I'll just share it with you guys. Maybe you guys have had it before. They said it's like a pretty common thing. You get it from sweating excessively, like always being, the skin always being moist. And like, honestly, from me being so heavy and sweating all the time and working out and tanning a lot, that's probably why I got it. So basically I just have to do a better job of keeping my skin dry. And then, you know, I apply this stuff once a day and it should be gone in a couple weeks. But yeah, that's it.